All righty. Good afternoon, everybody. We are so glad that you are joining us today for this very special episode of Tea with Brittany Lee. We are joined today by Jamie King. He is from Point Central, as you can see on the slides. And I'm really excited because one of the great things about Tea with Brittany Lee that's been happening recently, that I don't know if some of you guys know this, but a lot of our partners have been coming on to actually discuss what some of our really amazing new features and integrations that are coming out. And so that you guys are getting the first look at what is coming down the pike for VRM. So these webinars with our partners are really exciting for me. We used to, back in the day when Tea with Brittany Lee first started, some of you might know, I used to have to beg people to be on Tea with Brittany Lee now. And now it's people actually really love the show so much that you guys are just coming and you're watching the show every month. And I so appreciate it. It makes such a difference because now all of our partners are really wanting to give you guys an inside look at all of the best tools, the new latest and greatest features that are coming out. So I really am super excited about this webinar. And actually, I literally just met Jamie while we were at the Gatlinburg VRM Intel show. And I just got home, like literally I got home at like 2 a.m. guys. The drive was so long. I don't know how many of you guys knew about the VRM Intel show, but it was amazing. We're going to have that on our blog for a recap on Friday. My partner in the marketing department, Tracy Sanderson, is going to be writing that blog, recapping everything that we learned at the show. And when I say that my brain felt like it was melting, I am not joking at all. I literally had a headache and I had to take some ibuprofen on the way home because my brain was filled with so much information, so many great ideas. So make sure you check out that blog tomorrow. It's going to be on virtualresortmanager.com/blog. And also today, later today, I am doing a major hustle to get this out so that you don't have two blogs coming out tomorrow. But later today, the recap of this webinar will be on our blog as well. So if you guys want to check it out again, if you have any questions or anything like that for Jamie, then you can pop them into the question features here on Zoom. And without further delay or ado, thank you again so much, Jamie, for coming on the webinar today. I really am so glad that you're here.
Hey, Brittany, thanks so much. Hello, everybody out there in the VRM universe. I'm very happy and very excited to be able to offer you this little snapshot of smart home. And I promise you it will not be a sales pitch, but I want you to have some education. My background is I spent quite some time with the VRMA, working with education and really trying to educate the different suppliers that are members of the association that when they do some type of training or they do a classroom style format, don't make it a sales pitch because you guys get sales pitches all the time. So for today, I'm going to try to give you some fun information, a little bit of tidbit of what smart home is, obviously the value of smart home and what it can do for you and your homeowners, and also obviously to your guests. I got a big picture here, a nice little wave. I like to segue into saying that the wave is coming. Many of you probably already are a little bit familiar with smart home, and many of you probably have homeowners that are doing smart home on their own, maybe giving you guys some questions of why are they putting in their own thermostats, and why are the guests not being able to figure out how to use this, and is there really value in this? So today I want to try to cover up some of those points and kind of show you, there is a little bit of method behind the craziness of the smart home revolution. And so I want to start off a little bit of an overview as the smart home trends, why people like yourself, why are your peers implementing smart home, some of the differentiators that are out there in the industry, what you may or may not come across. Obviously the integration is key, and that's where I love the fact that we have a great partner with VRM and their team. We want to make this as easy for you to understand that when you're working with a smart home company or you're looking out to talking to somebody, make sure that they're fully integrated with VRM. That's a huge differentiator, because if you go out there and somebody says, we're actually integrated with VRM, but yet they're asking you for a login or a password, more than likely that means they're not integrated, and they're going to actually go into your back end, root around a little bit, and they're going to ask to be able to create almost like a dummy user so they can have access to your guests and how they're doing the generating the PIN codes, if they're even have that capacity. And then, of course, I'll give you my contact at the end of this presentation. So anybody has questions, you can ask me now, or you can ask me at the end of the presentation. So we talked about smart home. Many of you are like, well, smart home this, smart home that. This is the definition of smart home. It's as simplified as I can make it, but it really, I think, hits the point. It's a home equipped with lighting, heating, and electronic devices that can be controlled remotely by a phone or computer. I'm pretty sure every one of you has a phone. I'm pretty sure every one of you has some type of computer / laptop / tablet or some type of iPad. And every one of you, by having those tools, already are halfway there to what a smart home actually is. Now it's about what is in that home. What is in your properties? How are you access managing, or how are you managing the access of what's going in and out of your properties? How are you managing energy? Is that something that's very important to you? Is that important to your homeowners? Obviously, what we're trying to do is educate you on smart home is not just about locks. It's a much more. It's about property awareness. It's about access, knowing who's going in and out of the property, knowing when your cleaning staff goes in, knowing when your cleaning staff goes out, alerting the next person, alerting the inspector, setting up a locking code so that if a maintenance guy or some type of vendor can come in, and they always give you that nice, we'll be there between 12 and 5. Well, if you're going to be here between 12 and 5, this is the locking code you're going to have. And when you show up at 5:15, you're not going to get in, because that's a way for us to provide security to our homes that we're managing. So on that note, smart home, very defined. It's basically taking one of your vacation rentals, putting the lighting, putting heating, putting some type of electric device, and being able to control that remotely so that you don't have to allocate resources and put people in cars to drive out to those properties to check and see what's going on. So what makes a home, a vacation rental manager smart home? And what I've done is put a nice little graphic that reminds us of, well, my kids are obviously a bit older now, but I look at that and I think of that little train guy, Thomas the Train, but bear with me on that. So it actually speaks to the vacation rental manager. And what that means is that the house or what's going on is saying, hey, I'm clean, I'm inspected, and guess what? I'm ready. I'm ready for you to put your next guest in. Maybe you want to put it in a scenario where you want to set up a way for you to be notified that when the house is clean, inspected, then you can basically move up the check-in time. So there's tools and there's controls in place that you can do. You can also say it's secure. And the idea behind that is we're getting rid of those keys, or we're getting rid of those key boxes that are mounted on the side of the house. We're saying, let's make this house truly smart home by getting away the algorithmic locks and putting in a smart lock, putting in a smart thermostat, putting in a smart window sensor, putting in a water sensor. I was just talking to some friends up in New Hampshire this morning, and they called me and they said, Jamie, where were you a month ago when we were, looking to buy your product? I said, well, what do you mean? You got our product? And they said, no, we've had 2 houses flood in the basement. If we would have put in one of your water sensors, we would have been notified right away. And so again, this is the house communicating back to the vacation rental management company. And that's what really smart home is having that communication in place to being able to alert you what's going on in that property. Some of you might have properties right there that's easy to get to. It's just a hop, skip, and a jump away. Some of you might have properties that are miles away, and it's not as easy to get up there. Or just like Brittany was referring to, they're up in the mountains. The way the bird flies, it's 3 miles, but because it's so far up and so windy, it takes you 27 minutes, and then you add Gatlinburg traffic, and you're there for an hour and a half before you can get up there to rectify whatever's going on with the water heater or the pool controls or the hot tub pool controls. And finally, the one that obviously everybody kind of resonates is green, the green initiative. So if we're putting in some type of smart thermostat, and you're working with a smart thermostat, and you simply put that onto a contact sensor, when all us Midwest people come down to Florida or to your area, and we want to sit out and we want to open that big door and we want to smell the fresh air, or we want to look at the ocean or look at the lake, as soon as that slider door opens, we're going to be able, because it's a smart home, it's going to tell that HVAC or that air conditioner unit, turn off. And why does that do that? Well, there's no reason, as my grandmother has always said, stop heating the outdoors. So what we're trying to do is to take away that additional energy that's being spent, for your homeowners. They're continuously saying, our bills are out of control. People keep opening the windows, keep opening the doors, and they just keep turning the air conditioner down lower and lower. Or in the wintertime, they keep turning it up hot and hot. So what we're trying to do is we're reducing energy costs, and we're basically being a leader when it comes to the green initiative. And that's, again, what smart home really is. It's communication. It's telling you what's going on, whether it be access, whether it be security, whether it be energy, or whether it be just simply property awareness, where you actually have a doorbell, or maybe a garage door, or maybe you have a camera that's in the driveway. And because of the fact that you're integrated with VRM, you know that there's no reservation. And when some reason a car drives in that driveway, you're going to be able to capture that license plate and be notified right away that, hey, there's somebody driving the driveway of this property that we know that there's no guest there currently, because the reservation coding is showing up in our back end on our reservation card. So what I want to show you here, obviously there's some big numbers on here when it comes to smart home technology adoption. It's already out there. It's already in place. 26 billion connected units by 2020. That's a huge number. Obviously, what we're referring to here is thermostats, lights, locks, garage doors, access doors, windows. But what I want to really highlight is on the right-hand side where it says 75 billion. And what I want you to see is this C curve. And as you can see, year over year, we're continuously seeing more and more connectivity. And again, your homeowners are probably already doing some type of smart home with their primary residence. Their secondary residence that you're managing, they're probably, if you don't make the initiative to go forward and really start educating them about smart home, they're going to try to put in their own basically controls. And of course, then unfortunately for you as vacational managers, you may lose some of that control, being able to know what's going on in your property. So what I'm trying to show you in this slide right here is that we see millions or billions of different type of adaptation, and we're going to see a continuous spike as we go on up through the next 7 to 8 years when it comes to connected units. I got a little survey. You can't do a webinar without having some type of stats and some type of graphics. 60% of guests surveyed said they would pay more for a vacation rental with smart home features. And the reason being is that they're already using smart home, and they think, hey, I'm going to this vacation rental manager company. The reason I'm going here is because they have these really cool locks, or they have this real cool smart home feature that allows me to have, simplify my stay. And then when it comes to the vacation rental managers, you're saying, well, this will be a lot stressful because, you know what, I don't have to worry about my guests getting locked out. If my guest is standing on the doorstep and they say, hey, I'm sorry, Brittany, I forgot my code, you pull up your phone, look at your app, and you basically hit a button and you unlock it and you let them in. So obviously what you're doing is you're basically making that guest experience enhanced. Not only are you enhancing the guest experience, but you're also enhancing your experience with your own company. And you're basically making that Saturday that's so hectic and crazy, you're streamlining that. You're operationally making it a little bit more smoother for being able to get your cleaners out, get your guests checked in, and get your exiting guest obviously checked out from the day before, and really making your company work more efficiently in that regard. Hosts or basically vacational managers say their stress relievers are, they don't have to worry about their guests forgetting to lock the door. We obviously, there's different scenarios out there, but one of the features that I really like on different companies is an automatic locking feature. When a house is vacant, no matter what, at 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night, it's automatically going to be locked with some companies. Not having to hide your keys, or basically leaving keys where they can be copied, where they can be lost, or they can be stolen. You don't have to worry about that, and that comes to access control and security. And of course, they like the fact that knowing that their rental properties will be more secure because they're going to be monitored, and you're going to know what's going on at that property. So we say consumers refer to guests. Guests are hearing these smart home messages. Already 81% are interested in smart home. 70% obviously want to be able to do smart home, but they want to have somebody else do it beside themselves. And that's where the vocational managers like you guys all come in play, because you can have that ability. You have the maintenance people. You have the resources to put those people in places to be able to do this installation of smart home and get this message out. I mean, it's everywhere. Everybody is talking about it. You know, we watch commercials, we watch TV, we see Google, and we see obviously Alexa. That's basically going to be rolled into a smart home platform in the very near future. Point Central is actually looking at doing something very similar to that. So it's very exciting right now. And there's a lot of people that are looking at this and seeing the ease of use of getting this online, because you guys are all users and clients of VRM, it makes it even easier when you have that integration, because when a reservation comes in, it automatically populates on your back end. A locking code is assigned to the guest, and all you have to do is manage, obviously, then the rest of your staff and your team. So some trends in the smart home. When we say consumers, and you as a vocational manager, you're saying, well, who are my consumers? Is it me? Is it the homeowner? Is it the guest? Ideally, in this scenario, the consumer is that your homeowner that's obviously thinking about using smart home, and then the guests are the beneficiaries of smart home. And obviously, what that does is guests expect to have that smart home because it gives them a level or a stance of saying, I'm staying in a really cool property. I really like the fact that I'm going to a place and I have a cool lock on the door, or I have a really neat looking thermostat, or I have the ability to dim my lights in my property. So what we're saying, it's not just about vocational managers. It goes to everybody. Consumers equals homeowners, which equals and transfers into guests. We also know the owners will install it on their own. And I kind of warned you, this is more of a warning slide in that regard. If you don't go out and actively promote the smart home initiative that your company's doing, your owners will, come in one day and spend their week at your property, and they'll leave, and they'll have a whole bunch of new thermostats in place, and you'll be thinking, wow, I wish I would have known that, because now I can have to figure out how to use these different type of operating systems when it comes to smart home. So the question for you isn't if you're moving to smart home, it's when and how. And obviously that's where you need to decide is what's the right fit for you. What are you looking to do? Do you need help with access? Do you need help with energy? Do you need help with property awareness? All these different functionality can tie into one platform, or you can do it separate. You could do one home that has energy and locks. You could do one home that has just energy. You could do a home that just does water sensors. You can build and customize smart homes. So don't feel like you only have to do locks or you can only do thermostats. Smart home is getting smart enough now where you can, if you have a good company that you want to pair up with, they should be able to provide you solutions to be able to address the needs that you have for each unique homeowner. A lot of people think I got to put locks on every single home. I got to put a thermostat in every single home. A lot of those homeowners say, I don't want that. I don't want a lock on my door, but I need help with a thermostat. Or I don't need a thermostat because I'm living up in New England or I'm living up in the upper UP of Michigan, but I do need access control because it's so far away from my home office or where I'm working out of that I just can't get up there. It takes me 2 hours to go up to that cabin, but I really want the security and the safe feeling of knowing who's going in, when they're checking in, and when they're checking out. So again, smart home trends. It's here. It's continually to grow like that wave I started off this presentation with. But what it really means for you is how do you encompass it? How do you really say, you know what, this is something I do need, and I do like this flexibility of being able to have the control and putting the controls in place to further my company. So why would somebody like yourselves be moving to smart home? Improve security. We're getting rid of keys. We're getting rid of those locks that you have to go out and reprogram every 2 weeks because it doesn't hold that many locking codes. You can audit every access. You can actually add and delete users automatically. A good smart home company will provide those type of solutions for you. Operational cost. Hey, if we know the guests are checking out at 6 a.m. in the morning, we can send our cleaning crews out at 6:15. Get that house clean, and then go on to the next one. We have that real-time data and status. That all comes down to integration as well. Being able to update on your reservation, your PMS company, which is in this case VRM, and having that instantaneous status updates. Happy owners. The key for you, obviously, everybody. Maybe you like being at 50, maybe you like being at 30 homes, maybe you like being at 100 homes, but you also maybe want to bring in some new homeowners. And if you're the only company in your destination that's doing smart home, you're going to be looked at as a leader in the industry. And homeowners are going to talk, and homeowners are going to say, look, I'm working with Brittany, and Brittany's able to reduce my energy costs on a monthly basis because she's doing smart home. Have you ever thought about saving that energy? So again, this is another reason why vocational managers are pursuing the smart home initiative. Competitive differentiator, again, guests expect smart home because the guests are already coming from a home that is smart home in some capacity. And the homeowners will do it without you. And at the end of the day, we want to delight the guest. How nice would it be to sit there and say, here's your code to get into the property, and instead of stopping 30 minutes out of your way to by our office, how about you just go directly to the property? and you have the code, we have the directions, and you have the ability to get into the house and start your vacation after driving 15, 16 hours to get to your property where you're staying. Remotely checking out, and of course, if you're doing some type of thermostat, you can set the house to have a floor and a ceiling, and being able to have that when a reservation comes in through VRM, being able to set that house at a certain temperature so that the guests don't arrive and crank the heat all the way up or they crank the air all the way down. You can set that so it's a 12-hour advance window in that regard. So obviously, a lot of the data I pulled for you is from our parent company, which is called Alarm.com. Obviously, we have 3.5 million subscribers, over 25 million connected devices, which translates to 20 billion data points. So that was just in last year alone. So it's very impressive for me to be able to sit here and talk about smart home because we've been doing it for quite some time. And it's very exciting to be able to say, you know, how can we help you understand more about smart home? Point Central may not be the solution for you, but I have the confidence and the ability in what we can educate you on to make sure you guys make the right decision on a company that you may want to choose that makes the most sense for you. Here's some obviously our partners. I thought it was important just to kind of share that there's some people you probably recognize on that list. We're now closer to 160 property managers in 25 states. So we do see the value of working with vacation rental managers. I don't know if anybody from any of the companies are on the phone today, but we do have some proof in the pudding. So I guess the vacation resort managers that are on the phone may be related or know some of these obviously peers. But these companies currently are using Point Central. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to work with Brittany and the team was that we have a number of virtual resort managers, users, and we value their relationship and they obviously value Point Central. So some differentiators. When you guys are out talking to smart home companies, ask them what type of architecture they're using. It's very important to understand that you're going to have Wi-Fi and you're going to have cellular. And I want you just to know that obviously Wi-Fi is a solution. It's a very cheaper solution, but please understand that if my family of 5 came to one of your properties and everybody had their iPhones and their tablets, that's probably 10 different applications that are going to be pulling bandwidth out of that Wi-Fi router. And if your door is being tied to that, that could obviously weaken the signal. And then you could have some deterioration where the door may not correspond, or maybe the thermostat doesn't work because that bandwidth is being drained by the different applications going on with the guests that come in and stay. Software is important as well. What you need to understand about that is you want to use a software that's been developed by property managers. Because when you guys have your pain points and you say you need these type of notifications or these type of documents, you want to be able to work with a company that addresses that. And they don't just sit there and say, no, we think you should do it this way. You want to be able to do it your way so that you have the opportunity to be able to go through and actually make those decisions. Do I want to be notified if the power's out at my hub? Do I want to be notified if my lock's battery low? Do I want to be notified if there's water in my basement? Do I want to be notified if the cleaner doesn't put in their code and the house is left unlocked? Very important ways that you can customize those notifications, and then you can guide those notifications to the right people in your company to be able to correspond and act upon those notifications. And of course, the team behind the solution. So when it comes to the relationship with VRM, obviously it's very important to have that type of reservation software that incorporates and is integrated with the smart home company that you decide to go with. Here's an example of what a smart home would look like if you were using Point Central. The only reason I show this to you is number one, we don't use Wi-Fi. We use what's called a gateway, which could be AT&T or Verizon, and it looks kind of like a router. Then you can start building, and this is what I love, is that you don't have to do just all of this. You could do the gateway and energy, which would look like thermostat and some contact sensors. You could do a thermostat or the gateway and you do pool controls or water shut off or humidity controls, or you could do locks. And obviously what it does is it connects to the cell towers, which then talks to VRM. VRM talks to Point Central, and then the locking code is sent back to the actual gateway, which then puts that into the lock / thermostat / pool control. So it's a very simple process, a very simple ecosystem, but it's very powerful for being able to give you what you want when it comes to reservation information, when it comes to notifications, and when it comes to property status and device control. I think that's very important when you're building your smart home for your needs. Make sure you look at those different areas of access, of notifications, and also looking at being able to have a status of what's going on in your properties. So finally, the takeaways for you, and I do appreciate your time. The wave is coming. Guests and homeowners are adopting it. They're already using it in their existing properties at home. Why not make one of your properties a smart home? And the benefits to you are significant. Obviously, some of the big ones are security, going green, saving your homeowners some money, and obviously being able to know what's going on in each of your properties depending on where they're located and who's participating. And as Brittany alluded to at the very beginning, we spent some time together in Gatlinburg. It was great. You working together with VRM is a leading solution for you because it obviously benefits each and every one of you when it comes to using VRM as your PMS system. So the wave's coming. My name is Jamie. I'm sorry about that. It just blacked out. And that is my contact information. Feel free to be able to reach out to me or send me an email with any other questions you have on smart home. And I thank you for your time and really hope you got some good takeaways out of this presentation.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Jamie. I feel like for property managers, one of the things that was really evident in what we're doing right now in the industry is that the industry is growing and changing. And if we're not changing with the industry, we're going to get left behind, and we're going to find that there are so many tools that can make our life so much easier and make our job so much easier and make us better at our job without having to pull our attention in 50 different directions. And so I love smart home technology. I feel like it's really important. As somebody who loves to go and stay in vacation rentals, it makes things so much easier. You just feel like secure, you feel safe while you're staying in the rental. You know that the property manager is aware of what's going on. So those of you that are already using smart home technology, kudos to you. And if you're not, then definitely give it some thought. It's important for us to be trendsetters in the industry. I'm going to go ahead and open it up for questions. If you have questions, go ahead and pop it down in the little Q&A box in Zoom, and I'll be more than happy to ask those questions. And while you guys are typing those questions up, I'm going to go ahead and talk about what we're doing next month on Tea with Brittany Lee. So next month on Tea with Brittany Lee, we're getting a little close to the Christmas season. I hope you guys are excited about it as I am. I have an 11-year-old daughter, so she is always super excited about Christmas. It keeps the joy alive. So this year, on December the 14th at 2 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be talking to Jim Duncan from Resort Cleaning, and he's going to talk to us about the best housekeeping tool that'll make your life easier. And I have already met with Jim and talked to him. I actually got to meet Jim in Gatlinburg as well, which was really fun. I always love when I'm able to meet everyone face to face. So if you haven't been to a show, this is your little nudge, nudge. Come meet me at one of the shows that we're going to be at. I'd love to meet you guys. But basically, Jim's going to come on and talk to us about his unique solution for your property cleaners so that they can actually be more effective. And he even told me a funny little story about how one of his cleaning companies, one of his rental managers saved over $30,000 a year using his tool. So really amazing. I really want you guys to hear this information. It's going to be a lot of fun. So all you have to do is click on the link that's going to come in the email and register after. And it doesn't seem like anybody has any questions today. If you do end up having questions and you want me to forward them on to Jamie and you didn't get his contact details, then that's totally fine. I'll be more than happy to do that. Just send them to Brittany@virtualresortmanager.com. And if you have any suggestions for topics, please reach out and send those to me. I love hearing from you guys. I love hearing what you want to learn about and what you want to know about. So please send me any emails or thoughts or questions or anything like that. I'd be more than happy to hear from you guys. And I just want to say thank you again so much, Jamie, for coming on and joining me today on Tea with Brittany Lee. It was such an honor to have you on here. And I know from the team at VRM, we are so glad that we're partnering with you. It's been a wonderful journey so far. So thank you guys, everyone, for showing up today. We really appreciate it. Again, if you have any questions, email me, Brittany@virtualresortmanager.com, and I'll be more than happy to answer them or forward them on to the right person who has them. So have a good month, you guys, and I will see you in December. Bye.